it's always handy to use. I couldn't do it. I wasn't eligible to film the videos live for a long time because my channel didn't fit the criteria. But it does now, and it's a handy thing to do because you can change the direction you're filming in, and also put all sorts of special effects on your video while you're doing it. But this it is a review of a couple of editions of the Book of Life magazine published by Marshall Cavendish, and I'm going to change the direction I'm filming in so you can see the writing on this magazine the right way round. The Marshall Cavendish Encyclopedia of the Human Mind and Body, book of Life. In the United Kingdom, it costs, don't know what that is. I don't know what three. That's three. It must be shillings. That they must have had shillings in 1969. As you say, there's a picture of a little girl. Castles in the air. That's what's on the front cover. Book of Life. The Volume 3 bind of a Book of Life, parts 31 to 45, is now available. With these beautifully designed binders, you can build your own 7-volume encyclopedia of the human mind and body in a permanent form. Well, you won't be able to buy. You get the then now. I don't think you might be able. You can actually. You might be able to get these off these off eBay. I got the full set of magazines from eBay. You might be able to find these binders. The Marshall Cavendish Dictionary of Medicine. 2 pages of each week's Book of Life. The back cover and inside back cover become 4 pages of your dictionary. You simply fold them down the middle. The dictionary is made up in sections of 28 pages. This is why part 1 contains pages 1 to 27 and 28 of the dictionary. Part 2 contain pages 3, 4, 25 and 26 and so on. To collect the dictionary, remove the covers carefully from each weekly part, then you will be ready to trim and bind the dictionary pages. Full instructions are included with the dictionary binder, which will hold all 420 pages of a complete work. To obtain your binder, send... But you could perhaps find these off eBay. It says this is the content, a list of the contents of the human mind, the mystic way. The idea of contemplating one's navel has for long been a joke in the West, but to the Eastern mystic it is a serious part of the process of reaching nirvana or union with God. Mystics, however, are not exclusively Eastern. Most religions derive occasional inspiration from divine experiences. That's on page 953. Medicine of Man, Surgery of the Future. If surgery advances as much in the next 100 years as it has in the last, operations regarded today as difficult may become a child's play. Transplanting the living brain is still in the realms of science fiction. Wish I could have a brain transplant. Maybe after I've died, though. I've got an organ donor card. Maybe after I've died, they'll maybe find a way to transplant my brain into somebody else's body, and I'll suddenly I'll suddenly die, and then suddenly become conscious again in somebody else's body. It'd be like that film. These films have been talking about Big, where somebody finds themselves in somebody else's body, won't it? Transplanting the living brain is still in the realms of science fiction, but at one time, transplanting the heart was impossible too. Enemies of man, life without sight. When sight fails, a blind person must strain every nerve to overcome depression and regain independence. His most important need is communication with others. This article tells you how blind people learn to develop their reserve abilities, how they use their other senses as substitutes for sight. That's on page 962. The child in his world, useful castles, and a child's fantasy life has an important function in the development of his personality. Pretend games of bends can occur normally at different stages of maturity. Dreams, both sleeping and waking, help relieve the tensions of growing up. Imagination is half the fun of childhood. Life together, getting the message over. Throughout history and prehistory, man has developed a very efficient way of communicating his thoughts to others, speech, but words are not his only tool. Gestures and facial expressions play an equally important part in getting his message over. Living body, the sense of sound. Your ears form an intricate system for converting sound into messages that the brain can understand, and they also contain the mechanism for preserving balance. Human ears are hardly beautiful, but as examples of biological engineering, they are superbly efficient and elegant. A fashion for transcendental meditation arose when Maharishi Mahesh Yogi took the Beatles under his wing. You see, there's Paul McCartney there, George Harrison. Yeah, you can see Paul McCartney and George Harrison sitting, and I think that's Ringo Starr there. I think I don't know where John Lennon's supposed to be. Oh, he's there. There he is. There's old Johnny. Poor old Johnny who got shot in 1980. The bad. Right. The mystic way. The mystic who claims to have reached enlightenment rarely feels able to relate his experience. Is his goal valid, or is he merely pursuing a selfish interest? But read a bit of it, not going to read all of it. The mystics present a disturbing challenge to religious and non-religious people alike. They have been worshipped, treated with fear and suspicion, imprisoned and martyred, dismissed as psychologically abnormal. Yet their creative influence upon religion has been profound, and they have been mainly responsible for that rich and continuing literature on the spiritual life in both East and West. The word mystic is often used loosely for people who have strange visions or occasional ecstatic experiences of being at one with the universe, but within religion, the term has a more restrictive meaning. It refers to those rare men and women who devote their whole lives to following that inward psychological and spiritual journey, Tayo, or mystic way, which culminates in the condition called identification. A condition called identification with the divine ground, nirvana, or union with God. So that's maybe that's quite an interesting article to read. As I said, you can get if anybody is interested, you can get these magazines off eBay. Religious orders with their emphasis on austerity, meditation, and prayer both attract mystics and are deeply influenced by them. Students at Yokohama High School in training at Sarge Zen Buddhist temple. As they meditate in the lotus position, the priest punishes any lapse in concentration with a swat of his cane. Look at that! Whoa, gruesome sight. Reminds me of when you can see where I cut my hand. You can see there where I cut my hand open. I had 12 stitches put in it, can't you? There, you can see. So you can see there, the wound there. Right, whole arms lost in accidents have been replaced and have regained a high portion of their function, provided the arteries are sutured carefully. The blood supply to the tissues can be restored. Nervous tissue, however, may take a long time to grow again and never be as satisfactory as before. So you can see there someone's cut the finger off. Surgery of the future. Medicine of man. Surgery of the future. Today, transplantation of living organs has almost become routine. Who knows what tomorrow's surgeon will attempt? The prospects are extremely exciting. Exactly 100 years separated two epoch-making events in surgical history. In 1867, Joseph Lister... In 1867, Joseph Lister introduced his antiseptic principle into surgery, and in Cape Town in 1967, Christian Bernard transplanted the first human heart, an act which so captured the imagination of the world that there can be little doubt that a future historian will record it as opening a new era in the practice of surgery. Another gruesome looking photo there. More illustrations here. Life without sight. For centuries that the blind beggar was feared and laughed at, but modern treatment has helped blind people overcome their problems and take part in normal life. See, there's Ray Charles there. There's the child in his world, useful castles in the air. Each fantasy has a value for the child who created it. Through imagination, a child can translate the complexities of an adult world into manageable terms. There's children's drawing there. Dear God, I wished on a star 2 times, but nothing happened. Now what, Anna? Dear God, I read your book and I like it. Did you write any others? I would like to write a book someday with the same kind of stories. Where do you get your ideas? Best wishes, Mark. Dear God, if you will make it so I can be invisible when I want to, I will do all the things you want. Is it a deal, your friend Gordon? Dear God, could I get to see a real angel? If you send one, she could stay in my room and do whatever she wants, and I will do it too. I get allowance, so she would not need money. I will pray to you, Debbie. Some pretty amusing letters there. Sometimes it is not clear what imaginary person or situation a child has conjured up, but the private fantasies which grow out of putting on a fancy dress can be invaluable to the development of a child's personality. In love, this couple do not need words to communicate, but intuitively they understand each other's hopes and doubts. Get together, getting the message across. Over. We know that we cannot communicate with others by speech. We know that we can communicate with others by speech, but we tend to forget that we use many other methods: the touch of a hand, the expression on the face. But more illustrations there. The Tic Tac man is a familiar figure at any race course. By a complicated hand signal, he tells other bookies of the state of a betting. Maoris greet and take leave of each other by shaking hands and rubbing noses. It is a slow process to teach the autistic child unable to communicate with anyone how to take part in the world about him. The sense of living body, the sense of sound. Your ears are masterpieces of engineering in an incredibly tiny space in the skull. Even when you sleep, your ears work on with untiring efficiency. Sound as a physical force that is measurable and visible. This sticky liquid is being vibrated at an ultrasonic frequency. The spikes have a rhythmic pattern. Testing hearing by computer. The patient presses the button when he no longer hears a programmed tone in his headset. 6 frequencies are tested in each ear. The warning roll of sound as heard from the siren of a police car. The orchestral conductor in his picture, Andrei Previn, is well placed to judge sounds coming from both sides, and in front, a human ear can discriminate between some 400 sounds and locate the sound itself. I need to plug my phone into the. There's an interesting diagram of the area. They will make interesting reading for a lot of people, these mags. Hearing begins when sound passes in at the outer ear canal and impinges on the eardrum 1.5 inches away from the ear flap, the auricle. The drum vibrates slowly for low notes and faster for high-pitched ones. The auricle, so useful to some animals for catching sound and passing it into the ear, as the ear has no real part to play in human hearing. The ear specialist, Top, holds it back as he examines canal and drum with the special instrument known as the oriscope. More diagrams there. The spiral shape of a cochlea is no larger than the tip of a little finger, yet it contains 2 fluid-filled canals and into 2 membranes separating them. The hydraulic pressure moves along the canals and causes rippling valving in the basilar membrane. Lying along one side of the membrane is the organ of Corti, shown here in cross-section. Here sound waves are finally received and communicated to the brain by the auditory nerve, whose filaments, and in the organ of Corti. This is situated in the middle tube of the cochlea, known as the scala media. Few diagrams on the back there. There's like an encyclopedia in the back pages. There's like an encyclopedia in the back pages. But this is part 13. I'm not going to show as much of this magazine because it takes up too much time showing too much of him. A rather touching picture of a mother cuddling her baby. The Marshall Cavendish Encyclopedia of the Human Mind and Body, Book of Life. 105 parts, part 13. That's the prices of them there. These magazines, they were available. They were released in 1969 and 1970. Animals of Man, Animals and Our Health. Live Together, Coping with Conflict. The Child and His World. Adult-Child Relationships. Medicine of Man, Hope for the Childless Couple. The Human Mind, The Warriors. Living Body, Reflex Shortcut to Action. Take a look. Take a good look at the picture of the father and his baby on page 346. It has a lot to up in arms. Take a good look at the picture of the father with his baby on page 346. Let's look on page 346. There's the photo there. A firstborn son and heir releases paternal feelings of strength and devotion. A father's masculinity, but his role outside and within the structure of home. The continuity of his presence all feature in the pattern of a baby's personality. Animals and our health. I think for this, I'll just. I'm not going to show all. I'll show you all the illustrations, and I'll show you a few of them. I'll just show you the contents of the animals and man. Animals and our health. In spite of man's increasing urbanisation, he is still in constant contact with animals. He eats them, drinks their milk, keeps them as pets. What diseases can they pass on to him? What can governments do in the field of public hygiene to prevent these diseases? How important are quarantine regulations? Page 337. Life together. Because the ideas and aspirations of each one of us are different, it means it's bound to be conflict. How far is it a valuable experience? When is it harmful? What types of conflict can ruin a relationship? How do women cope with their dual roles as wives and mothers and also as professional people? Page 340. The child and his world, adult-child relationships. The human baby needs to assimilate a vast amount of information to cope with the complex society in which he is growing up. The most important teacher he has is his mother. How does he form a relationship with her? What does he learn from her? How does he transfer his affection from her to others? Page 344. Medicine of Man, hope for the childless couple. One in every 10 couples who want children find they are unable to conceive. Well, my cousin and her husband were never able to. Well, she's too old now. This article tells you what doctors and surgeons can do to help them. It describes the causes of infertility both in men and women and shows how in many cases they can be overcome. When is artificial insemination used? Page 349. The warriors. Warriors part the human mind. The warriors part of all our lives, but it becomes a problem only when the sufferer cannot cope with his fears. Is there such a person as a born warrior? At what point in our lives do we worry the most? How should parents deal with the fears of a child? What types of families are most prone to worry? That's on page 354. Living body, reflex, shortcut to action. Do your toes curl upwards or downwards when you scratch the soles of your feet? This article tells you what a neurologist learns from this reflex. Discover how reflexes guard our body from harm. Why does your mouth water at the thought of food? Can an alcoholic be cured by conditioning his reflexes? Up from on page 380. On the cover. The baby's first contact, warmth, food and love come from his mother. She is the first person who means anything in his life, and he will learn from her and her relations with other people how to cope with the demands and anxieties of his own life. The love between them, captured so well in this photograph, is the most important influence in his life, photographed by... I'll just show you a few illustrations there. That's just go through a brief health hazards on the farm. Yeah. Right. Coping with life together, coping with conflict. That's it. Put Punch and Judy there. I've shown a few. That's anyway. That's that was a review there of parts 30. Come on. A review there of parts 35 and parts 13.